All right, so in this video, I'm going to be going over understanding ranges. So when we're talking about the following, talking about how to spot rejections in zones versus continuation, how to spot valid ranges, how to spot valid ranges that will get filled versus what ranges won't get filled, and that's pretty much it. So there's gonna be a lot taken in this video. So here, let me get started. Let me get some water first. All right, so how to spot rejections in zones versus continuation. So let me draw. So let's say you have um, so one of the things that like a lot of people ask me is also how can you tell when our zone is gonna break and when it's gonna continue? It goes back to understanding the higher time frames. So example, and that's why I explained this. So let's say you have a range here, you know, price is going up, and then all of a sudden you have a rejection area of some sort, and then now you have a low pullback candle, right? And then now it's coming back to fill the range. So now you have an official range here, like this. So if this is your range and the daily is bullish, I'll be looking for more potential buys to go up than to go down. Even though these candles are bearish here, I'll look for some type of support to be formed here. You know, at this point we have some type of support here. So obviously we're gonna have like maybe something like this here. You have a so obviously you're gonna have a nice support here, support here, support here. And after once you have that strong enough support, all you need really is a bullish candle. You have a bullish candle like this, boom. Price close bullish at support. You can now say if price the next candle breaks this low, we're gonna go down further. But if it continues to go up and respect this low, we're gonna go up to fill the range. And when we fill the range, price has a high chance of continuing up, right? Because think of it like this. Price doesn't just go up in one go, right? Obviously there's some pullbacks. For example, price went up here, made a push. Now there's a pullback, right? There's a low pullback. And now what you have is a range. Price always makes a range. Always, always, always. Like what a range is just price making a support and resistance, right? So price always makes that support and resistance. And if you go in any time frame, price always makes support and resistance, and then it just makes a range because price has a range to continue going up or the other way. You know, that's the simplest way to put it. So the daily is bullish here, and price is just pulling back to test the bottom of the range. It's testing support again, which is making the bottom of the range again on a smaller time frame. You can now say that if this candle closes bullish here, you can buy it up to retest the high again. Now you can say that we're gonna go continue to come up to retest the high, right? And when we retap the high, two things can happen here. We could push straight up, or we could just continue to consolidate again, back to test the range. But usually what happens is, let's say for example, now this is where like sessions come to play too, because here let me delete that. Here let me do this. Let me mark up these sessions right here. So let's say this is London last night, and then now you have pre New York. If the move during London and Asian, let's say the Asian is coming up too. If they move during Asian and London were going up, and London and pre New York just pulled back a little bit, what are the chances of when New York opens, we're just going to continue up if the daily is still bullish, you know? Because the New York is the last session of the day. Think about it like that. Think about a candle. Like you have whenever a candle forms, what's the first thing it does? It makes a lower wick. What's that lower wick mean? It's a pullback, right? So when a candle forms, it makes that lower wick, and then it pulls back, makes that lower wick, pulls back, and then goes up and closes bullish or whatever it is, right? It always does that. Price usually makes always makes a wick. And I'm gonna be going over wicks and what no wick means after in the video. They're in other videos, but pretty much price always makes a lower wick, and that's the first thing it does, right? So think about it in a candle term. When a candle forms, let's say you have an hourly candle like this. This hourly candle closes bullish, right? But first, there's two 30-minute candles in an hour candle. The first 30-minute candle was probably bearish, right? It was probably bearish. And then the second half of the hour candle was probably bullish because now you have, oh, you're around, yeah, now you have this. This right here is this. You have a lower wick. That's what it is. And now you have a break of structure. This bullish candle right here broke this, which made this candle close bullish here. So this is the first half of the rally, the 30-minute, and this is the second 30-minute candle, which is the second half of the rally. The second half is always going to be, not always, but like most of the time, like 60 to 65% of the time, it's going to be the actual push. I've seen it happen all the time. The last like 5 seconds of a candle, the last 5 minutes of a candle, it always makes a push. And ask yourself, how many times have you seen that in the past? You're gonna see a candle just look like it's gonna close in the range, and then all of a sudden close above the range in the last 10 seconds. And something me and my guys always my guys on the stream always look at. We always talk about that. So same thing for sessions. If there's 3 sessions in a day, Asian, London, New York. If the first two are just if the first two um is just a pullback, the last one has to go continue up because let's say the previous daily was bullish, right? Daily candle closed bullish, and then we have a new daily candle. It's currently bearish, right? It's not strong as a bearish. Let's say it's just floating around bearish territory. Let's say the last session comes. The chances of it pushing up to continue the bullish candle from the last day is quite high now. Same thing as for these candles. The first half is just a pullback. Second half is the actual no shit move. So now, like, not going back to this example, like, let's say this is pre Asian London, and then now you have pre New York, which is a pullback, and then New York when it opens, it pushes it up. Now you can say that New York's probably going to continue to push it up further. You start to anticipate those low things in. Obviously, you can't rely on those things like to enter and shit off of. Obviously, the price has to be there, like structure has to be there. The candles have to be there, but you can look at those little things and implement into your trade, right? And that's how I always implement it. I always say like, oh, New York's gonna push this candle up. New York's gonna push this up. And I don't say it just because I think it's gonna push it up. I say it because that's what usually happens. And like 70% of the time, that's what usually always happens on the streams. If you go into streams every day, you see at 8 a.m. you're gonna see a nice big push up, following the trend. So, um, so like okay, so now you have how spot value ranges. So, all right, so for this to reject, like usually like for this range to reject, it would usually have to be during like a dead session, like maybe like 11, like 12 o'clock during New York. Like after New York opens, during those middle of the sessions, you have like nothing that's happening. So that's why price might just range, right? And that's how sometimes you get a nice rejection now. You continue to come down. That's the bottom of the range again, right? And you probably have this, and then obviously if there's a push during like a market open, like New York open or something, that's when you'll get the push up to break the other range. But if there's no push, then there's nothing to push it up. It's just gonna consolidate there forever. So that's why sessions really are important. I'll spot value ranges that will get filled versus what ranges won't get filled. So how to spot that? How do I put this? All right, so let's say this. Um, let's say you have this candle, right? And then now you have this candle. And then say you have a bunch of candles here. A bunch of candles. Some are bearish, some are bullish. I'm too lazy to draw them out, but let's say you have something like this now. Alright, so now you're gonna have something that looks like this. You have a nice support, and now you have a nice resistance. So now it looks something like this. Oh no, sorry. Right? So let's say now you have this now. This candle comes up like this, and it breaks the range. Because you have price making support here, and the price actually resistance here, and now you have actually price breaking resistance. Now you have a candle that closed bullish above these previous candles after multiple times of testing the high and rejecting it. you actually have a closure above. So now this is when you'll see that big candle up to come up to fill. Look to the left, you're gonna see it kind of filling this range now. And that's how you spot valid ranges that needs to get filled, right? You're just waiting for a breakout of range and then just continuation of uptrend or downtrend. Now you have, because you have a clean candle here. Price comes up, looks left, no traffic. Comes up, looks left, no traffic. So that's why this candle will be a clean move up to fill this range. And I've seen this happen multiple times. This is like the most common entry candle, right? So um there's that. Is there anything I need to add here? Get filled. Oh, I think I'm good here. Yeah, I'm doing good here. Cause like here, if this count never occurred, oh, tell you that. If this count never occurred, if this candle right here never occurred and we just kept closing below, we're never gonna break it. Like we're never gonna like you can't say that price is gonna continue to go up from here if it's just ranging and you recognize area multiple times. Like even though it's closing bullish, you can't say it's gonna break until it actually breaks, right? So until you get a candle that actually closes above all these wicks or within these wicks, like within these wicks, right? We're gonna go up. Even if a wick looks like this on these candles, comes up to wick this area like this. It never closed above. So until we get an actual closure above, like this is when you can say we're gonna go up. This kind of right here. As long as we reject it, we're not gonna go up. So that's how you spot like bad ranges need to get filled and what ranges won't get filled. Also, um another thing is also when there's too much traffic to the left. Like let's say we have something like this now. Uh you have like something like this. There's too much traffic here now. Like now instead of your resistance being up here, you have to move it down to here. There's nothing you can do about that. That's just where its resistance is, and that's what you gotta be you gotta get comfortable with. This is your resistance now. It's not here anymore, right? Because now you have these body counts that closing here, and you actually might have some trouble right here too, because of this support right here. So you gotta be aware of that. Probably like something I'll do here is I'll probably enter a trade at here. I'll have a buy stop above here or something, and then I would take partials right here, and then I'll let my runner go all the way up to here because the chances of it rejecting this area is quite high because we have a nice resistance here, right? So that's why I'll move my stops all the time. That's how you spot like ranges that won't get filled sometimes because we have some rejections here, and that's something people don't look at. People just look at this candle right here, this clean traffic candle, and they'll say it's gonna go up. But then again, you gotta remember we have these candles too. So what might happen is you might have to get a push up, reject this area a little bit, come down here to consolidate, and then eventually come up again, fill this range later. But if you just want one push up, this will be your target right here. Price is gonna push up once, and then it's gonna push up once to here, tap this resistance, and then probably come back to consolidate here, and then eventually later on come up, retest the high again. But it might take some time. So there's that. So that's it for this video, guys. Hope you guys liked the video, and peace.